We have a bit of a bonus episode. We're going from 0 to 60 with the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh. So let's get cracking! Hello all my explorers, and welcome back to Loren's Adventures Out There. And if you're new, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. My name is Loren, and I'm with Castles, Capes, and Clones, where we discuss everything in the Disney universe. We talk Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, The Muppets, 20th Century, Hulu, Disney+, ABC. If it's about Disney, we are talking about it. So if you like that kind of content, we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post, as it really does help us out. So I was going through my playlist of From 0 to 60, which is our look at the films of Walt Disney Animation Studios in chronological order, where we started with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and last week we ended with Encanto. Well, I realized that I had forgotten 1977's The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. So you get a bonus episode. Based on the characters of A.A. Milne, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh is a compilation of 3 featurettes Disney had previously done. Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree in 1966, Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day from 1968, and Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2 from 1974. The 3 featurettes were then tied together with a final scene in which Christopher Robin must go to school and Winnie the Pooh tells him that he will be waiting. Walt Disney, after seeing his daughter Diane enjoy the books of A.M. Milne, sought to buy the film rights as early as 1938. It wasn't until 1961, in which he did finally obtain the rights. His original inclination was to do a full-length feature film, but then decided to do featurettes instead to introduce the United States to these characters. For the first featurette, Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree, they used the first 2 chapters of the book in which Pooh visits Rabbit and then gets stuck. He chose Wolfgang Reitherman to direct with orders to Americanize the characters and add lots of humor. Gopher, who doesn't appear in the books, was added as part of the effort to Americanize the story. Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day was the last Pooh project that Walt had his hands on. The story was based on several stories, in which Eeyore finds a woolery and Owl moves into it, Chapter 9 from the House of Pooh Corner, in which Tigger comes to the forest and has breakfast, Chapter 2 from the House of Pooh Corner, in which Pooh and Piglet go hunting and nearly catch a woozle, Chapter 3 from Winnie the Pooh, in which Piglet does a very grand thing, Chapter 8 from the House of Pooh Corner, in which Christopher Robin gives a Pooh party and we say goodbye, Chapter 10 of Winnie the Pooh, and in which Piglet is entirely surrounded by water, Chapter 9 of Winnie the Pooh, with elements taken from In Which Piglet Meets a Heffalump, Chapter 5 from Winnie the Pooh's Nightmare of Heffalumps and Woozles. The featurette introduced 2 new characters that did not appear in the featurette, Piglet and Tigger. For Piglet, Disney chose the voice of John Fiedler for his timid voice. He originally wanted Wally Bogue to voice Tigger, but he came across as too zany, so the job went to ventriloquist and now legendary voice actor Paul Winchell. While the Aristocats was planned to come before the featurette, After Walt died, the studio decided to go with Pooh first. The third featurette, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2, was based on the third chapter of Winnie the Pooh and the fourth and seventh chapter of The House of Pooh Corner. Unlike the other two, which were directed by Reitherman, this featurette was directed by John Lounsbury. The title was a play on the 1940 slogan, Tipper Canoe and Tyler too. A fourth featurette produced in 1983 entitled Winnie the Pooh and a Day for Eeyore was added to home video release of The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This featurette was based on the sixth chapter of both Winnie the Pooh and The House of Pooh Corner. It is interesting to note that this was produced outside the Walt Disney Animation Studios by a company called Rich Reinert Production. This would be the first project since the 1938 Silly Symphonies short Merbabies to be produced outside of the studio. Disney legends Richard and Robert Sherman wrote songs for all three featurettes, including the iconic theme song. The score, composed by Buddy Baker, drew inspiration from Sergei Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf, which represented each character with a different instrument. Baritone horn for Pooh, bass clarinet for Eeyore, flute for Kanga, piccolo for Roo, clarinet for Rabbit, oboe for Piglet, French horn and ocarina for Owl, and bass harmonica for Gopher. The film received unanimous praise, scoring 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, with critical consensus saying, perhaps the most faithful of Disney's literary adaptations, this cute, charming collection of episodes captures the spirit of A.A. Milne's classic stories. So, what did I think of The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh? Honestly, it's been a long time since I've seen them. Now, I've always loved Winnie the Pooh, but he hasn't necessarily been one of my favorite characters because, you know me, I love the more obscure and underrated characters. But I have to say, when I watched this, doing research for this episode, I fell in love once again. I think, and this is my personal opinion, that if you do not like Winnie the Pooh or this movie, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, you don't have a soul. I know that's harsh, but there's just so many elements to this film that are just so wonderful. I know that they Americanized it, but I think it worked for what it was, all intents and purposes. And yeah, I just think that it's just such a classic film. I'm so sorry that I missed it. I think I was so excited to get to The Rescuers, which, as you know, is my favorite Walt Disney Animation Studios film, and I just missed it. It didn't have anything to do with Winnie the Pooh or my feelings toward Winnie the Pooh. It just was a mission on my part, but an accidental mission on my part. So I apologize. Anyway, did you see The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh? And if you did you love it? Or did you hate it and have no soul? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed yourself, we would love it if you would subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post, as it really does help us out. Visit us on all of our socials down below, and visit our website at www.castlescapesandclones.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you later. Bye!